Well, Richard, we spoke briefly about a totally new direction, residence and lifestyle. You take Miami or New York City, Los Angeles, and how different it became in the last year.
Sure. What I've seen, and I think this started possibly even before COVID, but we've certainly seen it accelerate during COVID, which is that people are looking at their residences in a different way. And they're looking at them to make lifestyle choices. And I'm not talking about going into a lifestyle community. I'm talking about that they want their home and where they live to enhance their quality of life. What does that mean? It means that instead of necessarily having one large apartment in New York City, they may say to themselves, you know what, I'll have an apartment in New York City and an apartment in Miami. I'll have an apartment in New York City and I'll have an apartment maybe in Paris or Barcelona. And it's about leveraging their assets to give them a different quality of life. Because quite frankly, you know, a lot of people at a point in their lives, they can work remotely, they can maybe handle business differently than they handled in the past. We've learned that through COVID. And they're saying to themselves, how do I enjoy all the success I've had and I've built up? And we're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing people who live in the Midwest buy homes in New York. We're seeing people in New York buy homes in Paris. We're seeing people in New York buying places in other parts of the country, whether it's in Los Angeles or Palm Springs, to give themselves a contrast to what they have. They may have an urban American lifestyle. Maybe they want something that's more of a beach. Maybe they want something that's more desert-like. Maybe they want something that's more European in feel. And I think the things that that a lot of people are looking for that's driving a little bit are certainly economics. People are looking for things they can afford. In many places in the world, if you're taking the dollars of large New York or American cities like New York, where prices are very high, the spending power of that in places even like Paris or Barcelona can go a lot further in terms of home ownership. So we're seeing a lot of that.
And it used to be, especially like with my interviews in Miami, for example, we have a lot of South American buyers, we have some European buyers, but now I understand a lot of American citizens would like to purchase a place, like you said, in Paris or in Barcelona or somewhere in Italy, and they really enjoy. So it's a slightly different shift of the market, that Americans are enjoying Europe and South America and getting places there as well.
That's correct. And I think that the difference here is that they're doing it to not just as a place to retire, not just as a place to go maybe for a short period of time, but to really make a life change. They're saying to themselves, I'll spend maybe 6 months of the year in New York, 6 months someplace else. And it's enjoy the quality of life. For instance, you know, I know people who love Florida because they can play tennis all year long. So they they'll go down in October, they'll come back in April, but for 6 months they'll be there playing tennis as part of their daily life. And that's obviously, it's not something you can do outside in the Northeast in the wintertime. So we're seeing people make that. They haven't given up their businesses in New York, they haven't given up their lives in New York, but they're giving up part of it to be someplace else. And
you also mentioned that a friend of yours just recently purchased a place in Paris in a very residential area, which I personally love.
A friend of mine, what got me thinking on this is it exactly that. Is a friend of mine recently bought a place in the Bastille in Paris, and it was a certain price point to purchase. It was a one-bedroom apartment. He paid whatever the local price is for the apartment, but more importantly, you know, and I asked him, what does it cost you per year or per month to own the apartment? He says it cost him $4,000 per year between his common charges and his real estate taxes. And if you contrast that to New York or to America, that's a very, very low number, which means that it's affordable for a lot of people. You know, quite frankly, in New York, a two-bedroom apartment, the maintenance may be $4,000 a month. This is $4,000 per year. It becomes an affordable alternative to people who are especially at a point in their lives where maybe they're winding down their careers a little bit and they're looking at lower incomes. So there certainly makes it a sort of a fun alternative. And who doesn't want to be in Paris for 6 months of the year? Come on.
Exactly. The lifestyle, that is so important. I think it is a great movement. I would love to join that movement.
I would love to join that movement as well. And it may not be Paris, but it could be Barcelona, it could be Athens, it could be Madrid, it could be someplace fun. And it also becomes a sort of a jumping off point for the rest of Europe as well.